Hi, teacups! Welcome to the She Brews Podcast with the teas always bring. I am your girl and your host, Ginger Spice, and welcome to my couch. If you are listening on streaming platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you follow the podcast and you rate me 5 stars because I'm a 5-star girl. If you are watching the podcast on YouTube, please make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you tell a friend to tell a friend. Welcome to the pilot episode of the She Brews Podcast, my little corner of the internet where I'll be talking about everything related to navigating life, especially in your early 20s. From growth to healing, to friendships, to heartbreaks, to everything. We will be unpacking it on this couch. And I'm sure you guys are asking yourselves, why is there another person with a bloody podcast? Don't you worry, don't you fret. You guys will definitely enjoy it on this side of the internet. Before I get into the thick of things, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about myself and why I started the podcast in the first place. Because I'm sure you guys are wondering, who is this girl? Like, who are you? What's going on? What's the story? So I'm here to give you that little bit of story. My name is Lwandiswa Bonambi, but I go by Ginger Spice creatively, Ginger to my friends. I am a YouTuber, content creator, poet, aspiring singer-songwriter, and currently podcaster. But honestly, deep down, I am just a creative. Like, I'm just an expressive art person who wants to dabble in a lot of art forms because at my core, I am a storyteller. I love to tell a good story and take people on a journey. And I think that's something that I am good at and I'm passionate about. I am from South Africa, raised in Durban. I am the eldest of, well, depending on the day, I'm the eldest of 4. I am a student at UKZN and I'm studying a BCom in Information Systems and Technology. And yeah, man, like that's about as much as I can tell you. I'm in my early 20s. That's another thing I can tell you guys about myself. I started this podcast. Let's talk about it for real. I started this podcast because growing up, I didn't really have many people that I could go to for advice. And I felt like a lot of life I was navigating on my own and I was figuring out as I go along. A lot of my life was effing around and finding out because I didn't have the guidance that most people had around them. I couldn't go to my parents for advice, couldn't go to my aunts and uncles, that sort of thing. I didn't have older siblings. Nje yonke into was on my shoulders. So when my siblings and my cousins and people around me started getting older, I realized I am that person that they come to for advice because I've been there, done that, and I got the t-shirt for it. You get what I'm saying? So over time, I realized I'm really good at using my life experiences to educate and inform the people around me about where and where to go. The truth is, in life, everyone has to experience things for themselves. But it does help having someone tell you, Uguti, this is what I did, and this is how it worked out for me. I do not recommend, or I do recommend. And then when yourself, as your person, you can decide on your own if you take that advice, if you follow that advice, and what you do with your life after that. But I think we need a lot more platforms on the internet, especially that are less about gossiping and what the celebrity did and what that celebrity did, and more about growing us as people. I think we genuinely lack that, especially in the South African internet space. We lack presences like that. We do have them, don't get me wrong. We do have them, but we lack them in abundance is what I mean. Like there should be way more. I think it should become a market that at some point is just oversaturated because we have a lot of people that need to share their story, dude. And I am one of those people who is now sharing my story. The podcast is a project of mine that I've been working on for a while. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a poet and an aspiring singer-songwriter, which yes, these are little projects that I'm working on whenever I am able to because unfortunately I do not have the resources to chase after my dreams like I'd want to. Yes, I am studying IT and I am very enthusiastic about it, but if it were up to me, I would definitely be following my passions and my dreams in the arts. I would not be studying what I am studying. But as you guys can see, our resources are now. I'm using a brush as a microphone. Do you see the problems I'm dealing with? So yes, guys, donations are accepted. But yes, I started the She Brews podcast technically last year, and obviously the ethos and the vibe and the goal was very much the same as it is now. Genuinely do a project that aims at using my experiences as a resource for other people to learn and better themselves. But last year, I was definitely in a transformative and transitional period of my life. So, as in Gaspagestin, this yabo. So, yeah, I was going through a lot last year. And the podcast is one of those projects that fell through the cracks. And I eventually had to dismantle it because I lost sight of what the original plan was and what the original goal was. At some point, I started using my podcast as just a venting session to deal with my feelings when that was not why I started this. And it became really selfish because I would vent and vent about the things going on in my life. But now I am doing the very thing that I didn't want to do. I didn't want this to become a gossip page. I wanted to share advice and life experiences. So now what am I doing? Venting about every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's doing me dirty in my everyday life. You guys see what's in like I was lost. I was lost. I was in the desert somewhere. However, I came back to podcasting because I was like, as much as I am lost and I don't know what I'm doing with my life and I'm very directionally confused, podcasting is something that I do care about and I really do enjoy it. I enjoy it as much as I enjoy YouTubing. And podcasting was something that I didn't always think I would be doing. It's something that I found along the way in my creative journey. It just became another outlet for me. So I was like, this actually is a cool thing that I'm doing. Let me continue doing that thing. So I am back. So if you are new here, take this as a clean, fresh start because it is. If you've been here before, pretend everything that was going on last year did not happen. Okay? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I have yapped enough. I want us to get into the crux of the podcast episode. I want us to get into the rhythm and to the flow of things. So I wanted to first start by introducing the cookie jar. So obviously, as you guys can see, there are not actual cookies in here, but I took a cookie jar of mine and I put prompts into the cookie jar that will basically set the tone and the direction for the podcast episode. So one of the issues that I faced last year when I was still starting out my podcast was that when things in my life would get stagnant, I would have no topic to talk about because a lot of the time I was talking about things that were going on in my everyday life, which I still will be doing, but I think I made it too personal, too close to home that when my life was stagnant and it was boring and nothing was going on, I didn't have anything to talk about and I basically brought no substance to the platform. And that's where the consistency started to die out and it just became a problem. But me, big brain girl, I'm a problem solver. I figured out that if I constantly have a prompt for every week that I do the podcast, I'm not going to run out of things to talk about. But also, it made it better for me because as much as I'm an excellent prepared speech person, I prefer doing impromptu conversation. It's more natural, it flows better, and I don't have to spend ages plotting and planning what I'm going to be talking about because a lot of the time when I was plotting and planning, I then started to try and make it perfect and I was memorizing what I was trying to say and that's not what I want out of this podcast. Again, I want it to be natural. I want it to be intimate. I want it to be cozy. I want it to give that really intimate feel. And I can't do that if I'm coming here and I'm reading to you guys. You get what I'm saying? Each week for each episode, I am going to open the cookie jar and I am going to pull out a prompt and I'm going to read it to you guys. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in the podcast episode. Hopefully, I will only have to explain it once and you guys will just get the vibe and get the gist. For this podcast episode, we will be talking about dealing with the pressure to have it all figured out and why I do not have it all figured out. Oh dear, starting very strong. So I don't think we really unpack as a people, as a society, how much pressure we put on young people to have it all figured out by a certain age, especially in your 20s. By the end of your 20s, you're expected you've got everything all together, all your ducks are in a row. But for a lot of people, that is not the case. Especially for me, that is not the case. I am open enough to be able to tell people that actually, guys, I am lost. Okay? In my life right now, I am wandering through the wilderness and I don't know where I am going. But I'm not the only person who feels that way and goes through things like that where you're like, hi, where are we now? But we also don't talk about it as a society, how bad the pressure is to have it all figured out. What makes it even worse is that you'll find people on this internet, on Beyonce's internet, who are 18, freshly matriculated or graduated from high school if you're in different parts of the world. And bazothi, apartment, bazothi, moto, bazothi, first job, six-figure job, mind you. How? How the heck? And we see this on the internet and we are sold all these dreams. Also, if you work really, really, really hard in high school, you are going to get everything of your dreams. But unfortunately, some of us have to live in reality. It's not the case for all of us, and it's not what usually happens. Yes, there is 1 in a million who get really, really cool lives after they leave high school. Halala, I'm grateful for you. I summer well that life. How I wish that was me. But it is not all of us. A lot of us, okay, cool. We matriculate, but now we need to go to uni so we can get a degree. Issue number one, we need money to go to uni. Leo money zopuma, where does that money come from? It doesn't magically fall from the sky, and our parents are not made of money. Some people don't even have parents that will be able to pay for said university. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that go into this already. Say you don't go to university, okay? Now you need to find a job. You need to find a job in South Africa's economy? Hi. The unemployment rate in our country is so disastrous. It's so treacherous. But somehow, magically, we need to, put all our stuff together. And no, like, how is that possible? How are we doing that? So already, here's the problem. You need money to go to university so that you can get a degree, so that you can get a well-paying job. But issue number one, I don't have money to go to university. So people often say, if you don't have money, get a job. A job that I can't get without a degree. And if you do get a job, like a side hustle, a thing that you're doing part-time, they pay you in literally nothing, dude. Like, dude, what is it? Crumbs. And then money disappears right now. And it's not just, okay, fine, unemployment is horrendous. Then people do get jobs and, like, the cost of living is so high that even if you do have a job and you are getting paid, that money just goes poof in front of your very eyes. And then on top of that, everything keeps going up. Like I was saying earlier, cost of living is so high, but it does not decrease at any point. Recently, we had petrol prices spiking, and everyone was losing their mind. And like, you notice it with the little things, like Ubering around is now more expensive. People are no longer offering lifts the way that they used to because petrol is no joke. People are complaining that they can no longer fill up their tanks with the same amount that they used to fill their tanks up with. But the issue is their salaries aren't going up anyway, so it's like, already my salary was stretched thin, but now it's stretched even further. So you think about all these issues and you're like, people genuinely think I'm supposed to have my life figured out in my 20s. First of all, at 20, at 20, on the dot 20, you are still a child in my mind. in in high school, I thought 20 was this big age. And at 18, I remember thinking, no, guys, when I turn 20, when I turn 21, it's going to be these ages that come with muscles. No, that's not the case. Guys, at 20, you're a child. You are young. You might as well be a teenager. I liked the year I turned 20 because it was one of those years that humbled me and grounded me because it really showed me Uti in places where I thought I knew everything and gee, I thought I was a big girl in a small pond. Life really came along and was like, Ima Wolfsis. No. That's not how it works, okay? And as someone who doesn't often have people in her life to reel her back in, I am grateful for those moments in my life where life chooses to humble me and bring me down back to earth because I need that. I need something that's gonna don't tell me back and be like, Sissy, you are going too far now. But then that's the whole thing. In your 20s, you are having a lot of moments like that when life is just humbling you and bringing you back down to earth because sometimes we can float too high too high and we're trying to touch the sky. See, you know? And as someone who's like at the very beginning stages of their 20s, guys, I am dreading the rest of them. Like, not dreading. I think dreading is the wrong word. I'm excited. I'm always excited to get older. I've never been a person who's like, oh, I wish I was still young. I wish I was this age. I've always been a person who looks forward to the next age that I'm turning. But I'm also dreading it because, the lessons I'm learning at 20, at 21, at 22, manje le kude kuba ma 27, 28, 29, where am I going? Because my goodness gracious, like this life thing isn't easy. And right now I'm at a stage in my life where I have, I guess, the safety net of I can go back home to my mom. But as time gets, like, at some point, I won't have that safety net. At some point, the safety net will have to be me. The safety net will have to be me, myself, and I. When people say your future is in your hands, your future generally is in your hand. So this whole thing of that we're expecting 20-year-olds to have it all figured out and all together, most 20-year-olds don't even know right and left. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but it's also low-key true. Like, we don't know up and down, we don't know right and left. Most 20-year-olds are, okay, they're in uni, they're figuring out like friendships and relationship dynamics in uni. They are being stressed out by marks because they need to pass. And then you turn around and expect this person to know what a mortgage is. They don't teach those things in LO. So angiyazi mortgage. I don't know about taxes. I know the abbreviations and acronyms because they used to make us cram those things. But if Usaz had to go on my door today, I wouldn't know which way is up and down. I wouldn't know where to start. And we forget that when you're still young, not just in your early 20s, but even as a teenager, you are still learning. You are still figuring it out. If you think about it, a 20-year-old is a 2-year-old adult. But I don't even count 18 as an adult yet. So technically, you're 0 years old as an adult at 20. Guys, where are we going? What is the rush? Why do we put so much pressure on ourselves and each other to have all our ducks in a row at such a young age? Especially if, say for instance, hypothetically, life expectancy is like 80. So you're telling me by the first fifth, I must have all my things together. Kanjan manj, all class, kanjan manj. And also, okay, speaking to a lot of the spiritual people in the room, my mom taught me this growing up that when we plan, God laughs. Because also we are planning, you're planning, you make all these strategies and plans and you set this whole vision ahead of you. And God laughs because that's not what He has planned for you and your life. That is not what is in store for you. We'll see what in the Bible, I think it's Jeremiah. For I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. And that's the thing though. He knows those plans. We do not because, hey guys, it's above our pay grade, unfortunately for us. So it just gets to a point where you're realizing, what am I doing? And why does everyone think I know what I am doing? I'll give you guys a quick story time of a time where I had planned out my whole future and my whole life ahead of me, and it did not work out the way that I thought it would. And if I'm being completely honest, low-key kind of led to my depression, actually. So in matric, my peers and I were all applying for universities that we want to attend after high school. So what happens is I'm like, you know what, let me be ambitious. Let me be that girl. And I started applying for universities abroad, specifically universities in the UK, because I wanted to study in the UK. I've always had the dream of studying abroad. I think I was 12 when I was like, yeah, I'm studying elsewhere. I'm not studying here. So I'm applying. But my mom was also on the wave of try to be realistic and also apply for unis. Yeah, which I did. So in total, I applied for 10 universities, 5 in the UK and 5 here. I'm getting acceptance letters, provisional, conditional, but at the end of the day, I'm getting the acceptance letters. The South African ones, I kind of ignore them. I'm just like, I'm not going there. And then the ones from the UK start arriving. I got accepted into 3 schools in the UK and I was over the moon. I remember when the first one came, my friends were the first people that I told because I found out that morning on my way to school and I was still like in the spirits of, oh my gosh, I got accepted. That I told my girls as soon as I landed on school property, I was like, Lalela. Yo, dude, it was such an emotional moment because it was something that I had been dreaming of for such a long time and something that I'd been working towards for so long that I was like, there's no way this is not going to happen. So when I started seeing the acceptance letters, I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. I accept, I do all the entrance exams, I do all the entrance exams, interviews, quizzes, all these things, and I do all the things and I ace them flying colors. I'm feeling like, holy, I could have been Einstein. I'm like applying for bursaries and funding and sponsorship and it's all happening. And basically for the first half of the year after I matriculated, I am taking a gap year because school in the UK was only going to start in September. No, it was only going to start in October. I was only going to leave at the end of August to start setting up my life that side. Right. I was even preparing everything, like I was sorting out my passport, I was getting my visa together, all of these things. And everything, everything was going really well. There was no reason in my mind where I was like, I'm not going to be able to go. Goodness gracious. Just before I'm supposed to apply for my visa, because visa, it opens for a specific window just before you leave. So now I need to go apply for my visa. I'm applying for my visa in like August, because that's when the window opened. And literally, when I say I was applying tomorrow, and I found out today that, shucks, I don't have funding anymore. I don't have funding? What do you mean? I don't have funding. So my parents and I, we're trying to get our ducks all together. We're trying to figure out another plan, a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Unfortunately, I don't end up getting funding, and I get an email from the person who was helping me transition from being here to the UK. I don't know what I'd call them, but like, I guess my mentor, the person I was assigned as my mentor. I get an email from them and they're like, the submission date for the visa has passed. Unfortunately, I will not be able to go. So she tells me, you can still defer to the next year while you sort yourself out. Like, it's not the end of the world. After that point, I was like so down in the dumps, basically depressed. And I started going to therapy again because I was just like, this really, really rocked me. And around this time in my life, like everything was up and down, like nothing made sense. So I was making decisions that also didn't make sense, like really bad decisions that were not making sense. So the year ends, a new year starts. I am still working towards going to study abroad, but now I have to be a lot more realistic. The gap year last year made sense. This year it's not making sense. I now need to get a job. I now need to figure out what I'm doing while I wait, while I figure out the funding situation. As we get closer and closer to the new date of going, so the next August, it becomes apparent that, nah, guys, I'm not going to be able to go. But now it clicks in my mind that I have essentially wasted 2 years. It's not just one anymore, it's 2 of them. So then I'm like, frick, let me go back to these schools that I had applied for and try again. Not what my heart wanted, but I was so like, yo. Anyway, I applied for the schools again. They accept me. I'm thinking, right, I just go to the next best option, like the university that I would have wanted to go to if I wanted to stay in South Africa, which was UP. Like, guys, UP, yes, I see the institution is a great institution, but I just wanted Pretoria. My aunts and my cousins live in Pretoria, so we had to visit them quite often growing up. Guys, I love the city of Pretoria. I loved the city of Pretoria, and I feel like I would have loved it more now that I was grown and I understood what's happening. But I remember every time we'd come to see my cousins, guys, we had a ball. But now I was going to be here, living here on a regular basis. I was going to have even more of a ball. And also, if I was at UP, I would have been right by Hatfield. I grew up with a strict mom. Partying was something that was foreign to me. You see, if I ended up at Tux, I would have been party animal, dancer, place for my tafula and stuff. You were like, I was so excited. So I'm like, sharp, cool. They all accepted me. I see all of them, but I'm going to go to UP. I'm telling my mom, yo, girlie, I'm about to accept the application, not the application, the admissions letter from UP. And she's like, darling, you can't do that. Yo, I literally am like, kanjani manje. Okay, fine. Angi overseas, very overseas. Big visa, like, for 1 year, because the thing with the whole visa thing and why the funding thing was such an issue. In the UK, you have to prove that you're able to fund yourself for a year. So they want all the money upfront, basically. I don't need that in South Africa. So what's the problem? My mom tells me that I'm able to fund tuition or I'm able to fund rent, but I'm not able to do both at the same time. Fine. We don't have the money. Great. I'll go to UKZN then. I'll go to UKZN, like, it's fine. Right, I get into UKZN, halala, I get into the program that I wanted, halala. Technically, not even the program I wanted, the program I settled for. I get in, cool. 2025 comes along, and school starting. I go to school like every other normal person. But in the back of my mind, I'm fully aware also I'm older than a lot of my peers. Like everyone's like, oh, first years, first years, first years. I'm technically a first year. I am a first year. Like that is the truth. However, hey, dog, like I'm older than, yes, I'm only older than them by 2 years. But for some reason, I remember those first couple months, I could feel the difference. Ngenhlanhla, all my friends that had gone to unis had sort of included me into their uni experience life. So I didn't feel like I had missed out on a lot. But what I was doing was just like making sure I have people on campus that I'm cool with. Ngenhlanhla, a friend of mine from high school, she was going to UKZN. She found me on my second day, wandering around. She's like, oh, you go here now. What are you doing here? Come chill with me, my friends. And we chilled together. So basically, I was chilling with third years, but we're all the same age. We're all talking about the same thing. Life story is more or less the same. And no one was bringing up, oh, you're a first year. So I felt really comfortable. It was great. Halal. Bazalwane, yo. As I'm getting comfortable and accepting that this is my new reality, I get a bursary out of the blue. Like I got it in like April, May. The bursary is like, cool, we'll fund your schooling, but you're also allowed to take risks. I took the first opportunity. Mom was like, I'm but go, it's fine. Me, I needed to get out of the house. I wasn't able to get out of the country. I wasn't able to get out of the city. I definitely needed to leave home. I ended up in a student accommodation that has interesting stories. I'm at the student accommodation. I'm figuring out. I'm becoming a new person. I'm living the uni life that I had dreamed of. But even though I'm making the best of my situation and it's all working out, I guess for the most part, at the back of my mind, it's still there. I didn't get to go to my dream school. I didn't get to go to my second option. I had to settle for the life that I have currently because I planned all these things and God was like, no. And if I'm being completely frank, I think it really did destroy a part of me because I'm not as ambitious as I was before. Because anytime in my mind I think, okay, cool, I'm gunning for this particular thing, I just, no, I just go, Impilo on Pinda again. No. I'm good where I am. I'll settle for whatever is given to me. These are the cards that I've been dealt. Which obviously is not how I was before. Another thing that really was not great was, how do I say this? Basically, a girl was trying to off herself a couple of times because you're a dog. And now that I say it in this setting, it seems really dramatic because I will yeah, be. But yo, dude, I wanted to meet my maker and have a conversation face to face. Oh, was it like, why couldn't I go study abroad? And what pissed me off the most it was the fact that it wasn't because I didn't get the marks or that I failed the interviews or whatever. It was the fact that I wasn't able to go to my dream school because of factors outside of my control. I can't control the fact that I don't come from money at home. I can't control the fact that my funding was pulled. I can't control all these things. Yo, dude, it destroyed me. And even now, as I sit in front of you guys doing this podcast thing, guys, my my spark died that first time where I was told Uguti Osai. Like it died then. It died back then where I found out I will not be going to my dream university in the UK because I was like, why? And what people don't talk about quite often is that I worked really, really hard. I knew since I was 12 that I wanted to study abroad. I didn't know where I wanted to study, but I knew I didn't want to study in South Africa. So I've been working essentially since I was like in primary school for this one moment. I worked and I worked and I grinded. Despite all the things that I dealt with in my life, I did that thing. I did it and I was able to achieve all the things. And growing up, especially in the environment that I grew up in, you are told, always if you work really, really, really hard, you will be rewarded for all that hard work and all that hard work ethic and all of these things. And you're told, what's it happen? It'll happen. So now what do you do if you work really, really hard and you have all the results to prove that you worked really, really hard, but you don't get it? I think this was also another moment for me that rocked me because I had to unpack so much of my faith because I wasn't a believer in high school. I wasn't much of a believer before, but then I had a moment where I was trying to off myself and I had an encounter. And I was like, damn. So this God guy is real. And I was having all these things, like so much was going on. That's why I was saying, Kuti, transformative years were happening. So I was having all these realizations and all of this stuff was happening. And it really forced me to sit down and just be like, it is what it is. One of the things I learned in this whole experience was to number one, stop comparing timelines. Like, okay, I had mentioned that I felt out of place because I was quite an old first year. Yes, I was quite an old first year. So it's like I'm around people who are also first years because I'm also a first year, but these people are closer to my siblings in age than they are to me. You get what I'm saying? That was something that really, really messed with my head because I remember I was on campus and this guy who used to be friends with one of my siblings was like, "Oh, hey, you're here also. What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, like." Yo, and it got even worse because I get in high school as a prefect. So now I'm walking around campus and people are like, OMG, you're my prefect. And we're going to the same lecture. We are going to the same lecture. Yo, it really rocked me and it really messed with my head. But I think over time it got better because I learned to stop comparing timelines. People have different life paths. People do different things. After high school, generally, everyone's lives are separate. Their storylines are different. Everyone does their own thing. And what I like about it is that there's no microscope on you, as much as it feels like there is, but there's no microscope on you because you are free to do your own thing. If someone is watching how much time it takes for you to do a particular thing, why make Kadile Vele? They're wasting time because they could be doing their own thing. But I remember thinking, damn, I'm old. Like, all these kids are fresh and I'm old. Meanwhile, the age difference is not that great. It's just 2 years. I think I realized that now, but last year I was feeling it because I was like, dang, 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 dang. Another thing that I was learning throughout this whole experience was that my life doesn't have to make sense right now. Yes, it's an uncomfortable feeling to sit with. Deep down, I want to be able to be like, it will make sense later on. It will make sense in the future. One day I'm going to look back and all the stuff that happened, it was leading somewhere. But also, it doesn't have to lead anywhere. In fact, it doesn't have to make sense. I think I try to comfort myself with that whole thing. Life is complicated and it doesn't always have to make sense. And it doesn't always have to be that this particular subplot is leading somewhere. You get what I'm saying? And thinking like that really helped me romanticize where I was at. Like in my life right now, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. Ngicabanga kanjena. And it helped me just enjoy it. Like, I really learned how to enjoy the gap year. Like, you see the very first one, I enjoyed that gap year. I had a friend that we were gallivanting the whole city of Durban together because we were both in a similar position. And I was just like, ew, girl, let's paint the city red. And we did. We had so much fun. I had no responsibilities, no duties. There was nothing that I was doing where I was like, I'm fully committed to this thing. Because at that point in my life, everything was temporary. And I loved it and I needed it to stay that way. I needed to have that moment of freedom where I could just be young, wild, and free and figure myself out. Because also that year was crucial to my independence. Because I had independence for the first time. Because like I said, my mom, strict. Like, I come from a strict household. So independence was a huge deal. Not only like I can go out with my friends, but I was no longer being watched to the extent that I was watched when I was a teenager. Now I could go out and I could come home late. I could go out and not explain every Tom, Dick, and Harry that I'm going out with. I could go out and my mom's not phoning parents. So it was just like, I'm free. So no, I think that experience was really fun. And I loved it and I needed it for my development because I value my independence so much today. Because you guys, I don't want to be gutted because why are you watching me? What? Are you not busy? Why are you watching me? Are you not busy? Do you not have things to do? Something that was also comforting to hear, my aunt told me that she told me the story about how I've always been a late bloomer and that I'm not late, I'm learning. Like, my journey is my own and I need to go and do all the things. And she's just like, you've always been a late bloomer, but it's always turned out beautiful though. And she's so sweet and I love that. But yeah, it keeps me grounded to think like that because I'm just like, hey dude, I don't always have to be early to everything and I don't always have to be on time to everything. I can be fashionably late because that is just who I am. All these little things, they really help us keep in mind why we shouldn't put pressure on ourselves to make it all make sense by a certain age. Thinking that you have to have it all figured out in your early 20s or in your 20s or whenever, thinking that you have to have it all figured out by a specific time point really creates this loneliness because you put yourself in this bubble, in this box of, I am not moving at the pace that I should be doing. And we shouldn't be isolating ourselves. We should be spending time with our communities and our people. Because at the end of the day, we are all secretly figuring it out. Just as dismally as I'm going through the things, my friends are also going through the things. My family is also going through the things. And when you start to realize that we're all figuring out what this life thing is doing, it's so much more comforting because you can come together and you can talk about it together. Hence the podcast. Sometimes you just need to hear that someone else is going through it too, and you're instantly comforted to know it's okay. I'm not on my own and I'm not dealing with it by myself. Someone else out there in the world understands what I am feeling, which is the case a lot of the time. We all think, oh, yo, I'm so behind in life. God, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Because why are you comparing yourself to the 18-year-old with the Rolls Royce? What are you doing that for, girlie? What are you doing that for? So, to wrap up what I've said and what you guys should take away from what I've said today, number one, stop comparing your timeline with someone else's timeline because that's their journey and you are walking yours. Sometimes, if you do walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you'll get blisters. Enjoy your comfortable Crocs, enjoy your comfortable packers, enjoy your shoes. Number two, life does not need to make sense immediately. Just wait it out. Sometimes the bigger picture will be revealed to you later on, and you're not meant to be rushing everything. And sometimes things don't need to make sense in general. It is what it is. Just let it be. Number three, romanticize whatever stage of life that you're in because at the end of the day, progress is still progress. You are still moving forward. Every day you go to sleep and you wake up and you open your eyes and it's a new day, and that is still progress at the end of the day. You are still growing, you're still learning, you're still healing, you're still doing all of the things. So just enjoy whatever phase of life that you're in. If you are 17, enjoy being 17, don't wish to be 18. If you are 20, enjoy being 20, don't wish to be 25. If you are 27, enjoy being 27. Don't wish that you could go back to your younger age. Just enjoy where you're at. Romanticize where you're at because you are there for a reason at the end of the day. Well, I strongly believe that you are there for a specific reason. I've realized that not everyone believes in meant to be. Some people believe in happy accidents. I think I'm between the two beliefs, but that's a story for a different day. We'll get into that. And lastly, number four, protect your peace while you're figuring things out. Like I said, you're not late, you are learning. The way you talk to yourself and the things that you think really do change the trajectory of your experience. Because like I said, with me, I went through a deep depression at some point when I didn't get into my dream school because I kept just thinking that I failed and I effed up and I was this horrible failure of a person. But if I had just been oh well, life, it is what it is, I think I would have been in a better position. Protect your peace. Genuinely, umoya wako is so important for this everyday life chat. So look after it. Keep sure to you look after yourself no moya wako. And another thing, not all seasons of your life are meant to be productive, are not meant to be moving forward, are not meant to be breaking ground. Some seasons of your life are for resting and healing and just chilling and enjoying life. So when I say protect your health, your mental health, protect your mental health, protect your peace, protect umoya wak, and make sure it's all grand and you're right, because every season of your life is going to require it will require you to be present. Earlier I was saying romanticize whatever phase of life you're in. Yes, do that. Make sure also you are present and a part of every season of your life, because season A, you will like it, you'll like it, you'll like it. Season B, you may not. But you need to be a part of season B so that when you get to season C, you will enjoy it still. That, I guess, is just how life works, because we're human beings and we evolve and we change. So if no one's told you today, I'm going to tell you. Bro, it is what it is. Life is confusing. Life doesn't always make sense. And you don't have to have all the answers right now. But there's a high chance that you are doing better than you think you are. So don't fall under the pressure to have it all together by a certain point in your life, because the chances are you won't. And it's okay to be fashionably late. It really is. Take it from me. Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. I feel like I have yapped way longer than I thought I would. I really am getting into the groove of this podcasting thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys will be back for the next one. Again, I will remind you, if you're listening on streaming platforms, please make sure you follow the podcast and you rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you tell a friend to tell a friend. You guys' engagement is highly appreciated and encouraged on this side of the internet. You guys have no idea how much it means to me when I see you engage. Like, every comment makes my heart melt. Every reshare, repost, whatever makes my heart go, yee. So please make sure you're on top of that thing. I guess I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love from Ginger's Vice. Mwah. Bye.